Welcome to Joy News. But before I go on, just hold on a minute, okay? I have this quick wrap for you, all right? So it goes like, this nation is full of surprises. And see, I'm who Hamatan prizes. Okay, I'll get back to that one and give you the full show of that music. But you see, it's the 28th of December, and this is the Hamatan edition of Joy News Interactive. And why do I say so? I mean, look at the weather outside. Really? All the people who were demanding that the Hamatan should come quickly, well, here it is. My name is Victor Brache, and for the next 30 minutes, it's going to be you and me, and all your thoughts are going on the biggest issues in this country are going to be read, and reviewed, all right? But a quick reminder, okay? Joy News Interactive is like the Hamatan fog. We are everywhere, We are live on Joy News channel on Multi TV, as well as Go TV and DSTV, and on your Joy News channel on YouTube as well. Let us get started. All right, okay, so UK High Commissioner John Benjamin is back in the news, and of course, it is because of his tweets. Yeah, he tweets more than Donald Trump, if I should say, all right? So we will be Skyping to the man behind CNN Get It Right, Gary R. Smith, for his take on this particular tweet from the British High Commissioner, okay? But first, let's take a look at some of the Mr. Benjamin's more controversial tweets, for the past year. Oh man, you saw those tweets, that nasty, air outside. I mean, how nasty air? Come on, man. All right, so it has sparked of a lot of debate on social media, all right? So right now, let's go on Skype and speak to the man behind CNN Get It Right. And also, he started off with the when Benjamin tweeted about whether the Hamatan had been inaugurated. He came in and did a little bit of talk about it because he wasn't so much happy with the Benjamin tweets on social media. But a lot of people have been engaging, Gary and that of John Benjamin on Twitter. Some of them are expressing their views that what Benjamin tweeted was actually off the hook. But it hasn't been only Benjamin who has been doing some of this, and there are other diplomats elsewhere, there are other presidents elsewhere who have actually done certain things in countries that people didn't really like it. But you see, let us take a look at Francis Doku, one of the very active people on social media. Let's take a look at his page now, and he writes, okay, furthermore, Richard, he continues to give us an actual thing about this particular thing happening with John Benjamin. So we are going to go on the Joy News page and then read something we put up there some hours ago. All right, so on the page we wrote, UK High Commissioner John Benjamin is in the news again for another controversial tweet. It has created deep divides on social media between those who think he was offensive and those who think he was simply picking up from messages from Ghanaian social media. Sorry. So he says, we ask you to share your thoughts with us on this particular tweet from John Benjamin. That's why he says, oh, that's nasty air outside all of a sudden. He says there's someone, great the Hamatan already. So this was a tweet he shared yesterday around 9:51 a.m., such an early hour. And there is a picture of that thing on our social media page. You want to read a few comments for you. So Nana Kwame Boateng says, "What is wrong with you? Autocorrect people." He said he said it as a joke. Did the joke use our taxes? We should be focused on strengthening our nation and not create a scene on a diplomat's tweet. And he continues to say, "We need to grow up. Always backing like dogs for nothing." Okay. We have Kojo Sniper who says, "Mental slavery has kept Africa on its knees. A foreigner has the guts to make fun of our president because our own media and gullible countrymen treat them as God." We have Yakubu who says, "Did he mention anybody's name in his tweets? If no, then on what basis are some people castigating him?" All right, he says, "So it was okay for Osofia and Dele Mumodu to come and educate us on the wonderful deeds of JM during the election, but it is bad for John Benjamin to make a joke out of a current weather." All right, and he continues. We have Roger D. Haruna who says, "Yet this is the very man who threatens people of denying them visas into UK when he is taken to the cleaners, but wouldn't miss an opportunity to make mockery of the first gentleman of the land. Does he think we are still under colonization?" And he continues to say he should better concentrate on his high commissioner duties and stop denigrating our leaders. And we have Victor Marcos who says, when we have people in high places making a derogatory statements such as these, what else could have happened to the fragment of our society? And he says, "I am highly disappointed in such a man. No wonder US and the UK has leadership issues." We have Ernest who comes in, and as Jeffy says, "John Benjamin is only making a joke Ghanaians started. If anyone is to be blamed, it's all of us," making reference to us Ghanaians. So stop the hypocrisy and double standards, okay? You all have said worse about your own president. We have Ranji Nana Kofi Randy who comes in and says, laughing out loud, "Are Ghanaians that peeved? Is this not the same joke we have been peddling? Oh no, this is not harmful. This man is down to earth and always want to blend, entertain some jokes, people." So yeah, these are some of the comments on our Facebook, or when we engage people on our Facebook page, asking them to share their thoughts about this particular tweet from John Benjamin. We are joined on Skype by Gary Al Smith, the man who engaged John Benjamin when he first saw his tweet. Gary.
Hello.
Gary, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us, okay? When did you see this particular tweet?
I saw it yesterday evening. That was a couple of hours after he had issued the tweet. Somebody drew my attention to it because John Benjamin and I actually have some history together. It dates back to 2 years ago, and some people may remember there was an issue with the Ghana Football Association, and John Benjamin made a comment about the fact that the GFA were not being accountable to Ghanaians and they were driving in V8, and that our sports ministry were busy spending too much money on useless things and so on and so forth. So I was on one of the television stations here in Accra, and I was asked my opinion of it. And I said, well, I mean, as a citizen of the world, he has the right to make any statement he wants. However, the rules of diplomacy are clear. I mean, if you are a representative of one country in another, you want to be seen as much as possible and not heard as much as possible. Wow. It's the basic rule of diplomacy. But I mean, starting from the home.
Okay. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
So that's the history. That's the beginning from 2 years ago. And then a couple of months ago, something very innocuous happened on Twitter. I mean, I was looking for a West Ham fan. You know when Andre Ayew signed for West Ham United?
Yeah.
I was looking for a blogger for West Ham United to be able to bring the person onto the Joy News onto my show.
Okay.
So I used Twitter to ask of anybody who was a blogger for West Ham United. And I was looking for someone. And John Benjamin came to reply the tweet. Meanwhile, I wasn't speaking to him.
Okay.
And he said he would have loved to have taken part in the show. But of course, I had said 2 years ago that he talks too much. So sorry. You know, and I thought I was very petty.
Gary, can you hear me? Gary. Okay, it looks like we're having a little bit of technical issues with our Skype. We're going to get him back on air so that we can further ask him some few questions, you see. But you see, there is the argument that Ghanaians started this whole thing. I read on Facebook that people were actually asking when President Mahama was going to commission Hamatan, because we expected Hamatan to come earlier, but you know, it just came some few days ago. But let's go back to our Facebook wall and read a couple of comments. We have Kobe Heyman who says, if we will not laugh at ourselves, somebody will do it for us. We are too serious with petty issues. And then he continues to say, let's learn to tease and not take certain things too seriously. Oh. And then he continues, but I want to move to Oliver. Oliver K says, the media shouldn't encourage certain news. I think this High Commissioner is, is Nincompoop, or whatever that word is, okay? And it says, it's time we stop him from, okay, all right, you have to, you know, make sure you give us the right tweets, the right comments that we read. Gilbert Nana Kwesi says, whether we like it or not, he is part of us. Allow him to express his thoughts. Ghana the big. My NDC friends will say I'm NPP. We have Obed Kwabena who says, this man knows when to get serious and when to share a joke. From this tweet about denying the arrest of that NDC man in the UK for drug-related offences to that about Bishop Daniel Obinim. Oh, okay. Oh, that one there, it was cool, Abi. He continues to say, I guess people were okay because they were cruising to victory in a comfortable lead. We have Clement Madrid who says, these people want John Benjamin to mind his own business because he isn't Ghanaian, but they invited or paid Osofia to feature in their campaign video. We have Nana Nyako who says, I don't see why this should be a problem, all right? To be honest, I don't see the offense committed. It's a hilarious one. It was all over social media even before his tweet popped up. All right, we have Ashes Delali who says, when a president tends to be commissioning everything, people will try and commission other things on his behalf. So yeah, let's go back to Gary. Gary is back on Skype. Gary.
Hi,
Okay.
So Victor, that's the genesis of it, but I particularly like a couple of the comments that you've read right now.
Okay.
It goes to the heart of the issue. And just before the line unfortunately cut, I was making a point that there are things that an ordinary person can say, but as a diplomat, because of your high office, you are not supposed to do so. Now, when I tweeted at John Benjamin yesterday, he replied. Yes, he replied and said that he has the highest level of respect for President Mahama and that they have done so much work together. And my reply to him was that I don't doubt that you respect President Mahama, but don't forget that no matter who in that office, this is the highest office of the land of Ghana. You cannot make jokes about that. And I made a reference to, the Queen of England. Everybody knows her nickname is Lilibet or Tilabet, But I cannot, if I'm the Ghana ambassador to the UK, I can't go on Twitter and go and call Queen Elizabeth Tilabet or Lilibet. It's highly disrespectful. And one thing I want to say to the people who are making comments about the fact that it's a joke and so on is that sovereign respect for the highest office of any nation is non-negotiable. By diplomacy, this form of respect is not earned, it is demanded. I want to repeat, if you are a diplomat, you do not have the right to say that a nation must earn your respect. Once you are posted to that country, it is demanded that you respect the country. So for those people saying that Ghanaians make jokes about John Mahama all the time, yes, we can make jokes because he is one of us, and we put him in that office. You understand? The fact that I am in my home and I say that my mother has hair that is not nice, does not mean that you can come to my home and come and say that to my mother as well.
Gary, I'm not going to cut you, but you realize that there's a saying that when you go to Rome, do what Romans do, okay? Well, I'm just using this to say that also the argument that we ourselves have insulted the president on numerous occasions is not hypocrisy to now get offended on what John Benjamin had tweeted?
The simple argument is that if I come to your home and I see you having a spat with your father, and you make a reference to something your father did or your mother did, or for example, if your father had some extramarital affair at some time, do I reserve the right to say the same thing to your father? That's the simple question I'll ask you. The answer is no. When you bring it to diplomacy, it's essentially the same thing. We see it around the world. Anytime we are having joy news stories on the international front, we see it all the time. Recently, we have seen that Israel has summoned the U.S. ambassador to Israel for him to be able to answer questions on Obama and the UN and those votes and so on and so forth. I mean, the discourse at diplomatic level is decorous. You cannot do that. And finally, I wish we had planned this earlier. We would have shown the US something that John Benjamin. What a lot of people don't know is that in every country John Benjamin has been in, he has had this problem. He was ambassador of Chile a couple of years ago. He was kicked out of the country. He was kicked out of the country because he went to use the same Twitter to make a very, very bad joke about Argentina.
Sure.
Argentina reported him to the Home Office. Eventually, he was kicked out of Chile. I mean, you do not do that. And his own experiences showed that he simply does not learn. He puts his nose into our affairs too many times, and I think that is simply wrong.
Sure. All right, Gary, thank you for your time, sharing with us your thoughts about this particular thing on Twitter. All right, so Joy News Interactive takes a quick break, but when we come back, you share with us some of your favorite phrases and slogans from 2016. Do stay. That was funny, right? It says, take your phone and use it, or take pictures with it and send it to us with the arm in your house. All right, so thanks for staying with us. And you are still watching Joy News Interactive. We have been talking about the UK High Commissioner, John Benjamin, and his memorable tweets. And now it's time for you to share with us some of the favorites or your favorite phrases and slogans for 2016. And because it was an election year in Ghana and the USA, we have a few from both the countries, all right? And one special one from an athlete who just passed away this year. Let's take a look.
Teachers are suffering. Teacher trainees are suffering. Nurses are suffering. And nursing trainees are suffering.
So when I say NDC, you say no Ababase. And you show your shoulders that you are not going back. No Ababase. No Ababase. 3 times. And then when you show that we are not going back, no Ababase, then you show that we are going forward like Usain Bolt. So when I say NDC, you say no Ababase. NDC, no Ababase. NDC, no Ababase. And then after that, you do.
Well, you see. All right, so those brought back very fond memories, I guess. You shared some of yours with us on Facebook. I'm going to read a couple of that on our screen. It says, as the year went down, there have been many phrases that became popular, especially since it was an election year. So let's go down and read a few comments before we go. But we have Aziz, who says from Dr. Bawumia, the NDC government is full of Woyonomics, and then he says Sadajida and incompetent. We have Yakubu, who says 1 district, 1 factory, 1 village, 1 dam in the 3 regions in the northern sector of the country. We have Menz Miki Efia, who says NDC, no Ababase. And we have Ebenezer Beeson, who says in a comfortable lead. We have Edmond Nini, who says John 3:16, Onapo. And we have Hajia Ayeria Larry, who says I can't think far. So yes, these are some of the memorable phrases and slogans that people are sharing with us. We want to keep the conversation going, so keep on sharing your memorable phrases and slogans with us, okay? All right, and stay on this channel for more great programs. I am Victor Brache. Let's do this same time again tomorrow.